Mike Johnson out as Speaker of the House. The media turns on the felon and starts questioning his age and his cognitive abilities. Let's look into that. Welcome to Scrying Out Loud. My name is Trevor. First off, a huge thank you to everybody who's subscribed to the channel. Thank you for liking, watching, commenting on the videos, sharing the videos, promoting the channel on your own social media platform, which I know a number of you do. So huge thank you. Hitting the thumbs up button and leaving a comment of more than 7 words really does help the algorithm get the videos to more people. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Before we start, I just want to make you aware, if you want to join the Soul community, which is the YouTube membership to this channel, where we do daily energy readings and an occasional special offer, you can do that now and get $25 off a 30-minute private reading. It's $4.99 a month, and you can cancel it right away. I don't really care. Just encouraging you, if you want to get a private reading, it's a good way to go about it. Also on Patreon, my tarot class, which is 20 videos, it's roughly about 8 hours in length, is available for purchase. It's $22.22 off currently, and it would get you $50 off of an hour-long reading if you're interested in that. Those links will be in the descriptions below. And if you have any questions about either of those things, just email me. My email address is scryingoutloud3@gmail.com. Just feel free to email me with questions, video suggestions, anything you wanna ask. Okay, so there's some pretty heavy topics to get to. There was a shooting where some National Guards people were hurt and one was killed. This has led the felon to say we're going to check green cards from a certain number of countries. I want to look at that. Should green card holders from these countries be worried? Because, he can't realize that one person does something and it's just one person. He has to blame an entire group of people because that's just apparently the only way he can operate. He also said that kind of hinted that, boots on the ground in Venezuela is going to happen sometime soon. Hopefully that's not the case, but let's take a look at that. When I was scrying and meditating for this, I did get that the Pope is going to say something, I think, rather bluntly about the felon in the next week to month that not only attacks the felon, but the people that support him. So let's take a look at that as well. There's been speculation that Mike Johnson's going to be out as Speaker. Let's look at that. The idea is that, Republicans will quit and the Democrats will outnumber Republicans. I'm not convinced of that, but I want to take a deep dive into that. I do think the media is going to start questioning the felon's age and health and cognitive abilities to his face. Let's look at that to see what the cards reveal on that. And lastly, I want to revisit this Tennessee special election that's going to happen on Tuesday, the 2nd. There was a poll out that showed the Democrat only down by 2 in this district, that the felon won by 22 points in Tennessee. This, of course, would spell doom for Republicans in 2026, no matter what they tried to do with the maps from this point on. So let's take a look at that. Let's actually start with that, and let's do a Celtic cross here. So we'll how should we ask this? Let's just ask, will the Democrat win? I've been pretty consistent. Well, not pretty consistent. I've been consistent in saying I don't think so. Certainly, I hope she does. So don't miss understand that my predictions have nothing to do with what I want to happen in this case. It's going to be close. The last time we read on this, it felt like a 60-40, 70-30 proposition with the Republican favored. Um, then some things came out about her saying, now she likes her city or doesn't like her city. I can't remember exactly what the quote was, but I that doesn't seem to have hurt her, which is good. That was also part of some predictions a couple weeks ago that would happen. I can see her on election night. She's walking, pacing, very nervous. Must be close. She's not going to win by 20 or 30 points, right? That's not going to happen. If she wins, it'll be razors done. Um, and if she loses, it probably is going to be close. So we start with the Three of Wands. It's inevitable that people are going to be focused on overseas trade, uh, foreign policy. Uh, yeah, the Three of Wands is the base. Her challenge is actually the Queen of Cups, which is quite interesting. Being seen as not only empathetic, but being seen as if she can accomplish what it is she's saying. Because, I mean, the truth is, I think, is that most people realize that getting her into Congress isn't necessarily going to get Democratic stuff accomplished. It just might prevent some Republican stuff from happening. So I think that's part of the motivational challenge. The way she sees it in her subconscious is she's preparing for heartbreak. Uh, I don't think she thinks she's going to win. Now, that doesn't mean she's not going to. I think she thinks she's not going to. Um, of course, she will not say this publicly. That would be terrible. In the past, we have the Five of Swords. I think, this makes a lot of sense going along with the Three of Swords. This, you know, expecting election outcomes has caused a lot of pain for a lot, well, probably all of us on this channel. So, I think I think that makes sense that she thinks she's not going to win because she's, can't allow herself to visualize it, which doesn't necessarily mean good or bad. In the conscious mind, everything's moving really quickly. This election is going on fast. Of course, people have already voted, a number of them in the early vote. The near-term outcome is the Queen of Swords. So she's definitely in her head here. There's a lot of swords energy. Uh, People do see her as pretty logical and consistent, more so than they probably see her opponent. Um, the way she sees the situation is she's quite confined on what she can say with the Eight of Swords. Uh, I think she feels like now that the Democratic Party has stepped in to spend money, that she can't just say what it is exactly that she's thinking. So I think she's being quite careful with her words. I don't know that that's a bad thing. I just think that's the way things are. Um, the way others view this situation is that, she's got a real shot at winning. The Six of Wands is all about victory. So the hopes and fears are ill health, sleepless nights, worrying about basically the felon. That's the fear, is that the felon will do something bad. That's obviously going to help her. Uh, the outcome though is, yeah, it's kind of the same kind of Queens of Cups type of challenge. I think a lot of people think it doesn't really make a difference because, she's only going to be there for a year and then she'll be up for reelection, or there'll be another election. So with a different candidate. So that's not good. The Five of Wands. There's going to be a lot of fighting about what happened, a lot of sleepless nights, the Nine of Swords, and the Wheel of Fortune. It really is kind of a gamble here. Yeah, choices, the Two of Swords. We'll grab a different deck here. Actually, let's see what's underneath first. So strength and the Seven of Cups, many possibilities. We're all waiting. Um, the Two of Pentacle. What this feels like is like it's just really close. Um, could actually be even a delay in finding out who won. Like, normally in these special elections, the votes get counted pretty fast because they're the only thing that's on the ballot. Generally doesn't take very long. You look at the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles, ends of cycles. Yeah, and then uh, the Lover's card, adjustments, choices. I think it's going to be really close. I think every vote matters here. I think it's going to be really close. I don't think she wins, but it's going to be really close. She could win. Uh, but it doesn't quite feel like a win. It feels like suspense, though, which means if you're working on this campaign or you live in this district, make sure you vote because the energies could definitely turn out differently. Okay, let's move to the Pope. Is the Pope gonna? What do we need to know about the Pope this month? Just with relationship to the felon. Uh, the Eight of Wands flew out, as did the Ten of Swords. Complete matter downfall, the end of a dark cycle. What do we need to know about the Pope? I feel like he says something really damning. I don't think the felon's around for very long. I've talked about that many, many times. All of this is like adding to his downfall, right? Like the stress is going to build up. This is ultimately, I think, what takes him out is, um, like a stroke or some sort of stress response, a heart attack, aneurysm, something along those lines. The King of Cups. So the Pope isn't going to come out and straight say you should vote for Democrats, but he's going to lean into this idea that we shouldn't be supporting people who support the felon. So this is definitely a change in tone here. His motivation might not be as pure as one might think, but I think it's okay. I think the Six of Pentacles, giving and receiving, I almost feel like he's trying to provoke the felon to say something bad about him in the hopes that that would sway a number of people from turning away from Republicans, which sounds kind of crazy, but I think that would actually work. I think if the felon came out and attacked the Pope, that would be a step too far for some people. Okay, the Page of Wands, yes, messages coming forward that are fiery in nature, passionate, talking about helping the poor and how certain people are standing in the way and, treating, you know, people with dignity and respect versus just assuming because of your nation of origin that you are going to commit crimes that other people from your country have committed when obviously the biggest perpetrator of crimes in the US are white male Christians. So he doesn't demonize that group. Uh, well, I don't know that they're the biggest group, but definitely it feels like every time there's some sort of Jeffrey Epstein type of situation, it feels like it's that group. Um, the world card, I think the world's watching. I think the world listens to what he says about the abuse of power, the Emperor card at the center. And we're really kind of talking about the world needing stability, sanity is probably a better word than stability. And the felon's just not offering that. I think he'll talk about the felon's corruption, deceit, deception, all of those things, the Seven of Swords. And I think, he's going to be eloquent because he's the Pope and he's not going to say things bombastic that can't be backed up with actual facts. And I don't know that he names him personally, but he'll say something like world leaders or in my, country of origin, something along those lines. And this is going to cause some anxiety. So it feels like he says something along the lines of you can't really support people that support the felon because all they do is abuse power and cause the world to be a harder place to live for everybody. It feels like it's something along those lines. He's also going to talk about the corruption, in particular around money of the felon. And this is going to be seen as quite it'll make news. Let's put it that way. I think it's about trying to convince people to vote for the best interest of the world in the future. The world's going to be watching. The world's going to hear these messages, and really, what he's saying is we need a sane world, and we can't have a sane world if we're supporting people that abuse power and that are corrupt. He'll be backed up quite a bit. Might even include something around Epstein, the Chariot card, and this is his way of getting the message out once again. So, do you think we can expect something from the Pope this in December, sooner in the December, somewhere in that frame? Okay. What is going on? Do green card holders of these countries need to be worried? I don't know what is wrong with, like, first off, let me just quickly say this is a tarot reading. I could be right, I could be wrong. So just my impressions, sometimes my opinions. And this is so take it as you want. This is my opinion. I just don't understand what is wrong with this person that immediately jumps to generalizing every bad thing that happens to the entire group of people that it could, that the person that did the bad thing is from. It's just insane. I don't honestly fundamentally understand what's wrong with him or what's wrong with Republicans in this regard because they all kind of do it. I just don't understand it. It's confusing. Okay. So what's going to happen with these green card holders? So it's called for the review of green card holders. I guess is that it doesn't actually happen, but let's just take a look. We need to know about this. Yeah. I think it's mostly words. Um, I mean, it's definitely causing fear. The tower card. It's 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 a new low. Let's just be honest. It really is. It's like people come here, they work here. You don't get a green card right away to work on a visa first, and then you maybe you get a green card. There's some special circumstances, through marriage or elderly parents, these types of things. Um, but in general, a person doesn't get a green card until they've been here for a year or two. And that's only if the company wants to sponsor them, right? Or a family member, or, and not just any family member. It's a complicated thing. So this is causing a lot of problems. I think we're going to learn the truth about the Sun card. And I think the truth is that while this is causing a lot of fear right now, that they're not actually going to investigate anybody. It's just things to say to distract from uh, his approval rating. We get the Five of Pentacles over here, being left out in the cold. Now, I do think there's a problem for people that don't currently have green cards that are wanting to get them, or companies wanting to sponsor them from countries. I think there's a lot of nervousness around H-1B visas. Um, but companies don't really know what to do because there just aren't people to hire that have the skill sets without hiring people from other countries. So it's really kind of a conundrum, especially for things like, hospitals and universities. There just aren't enough, American born doctors or professors or whatever. There just aren't. Um, I think it's mostly talk, the Page of Wands. Yeah, at the center, yeah, we're okay. The center, we have the Star card of protection. I think people are going to be okay. Um, I do think this drives people away from him, particularly the groups of naturalized citizens, which I know don't make up a huge voting bloc, but you never know in a close election. It might be important. Um, and, circles of support, Republicans are probably going to go along with this, but justice is going to prevail. uh, the justice system is going to hold up and not do anything wrong. But he's going to try to get away. So, he's shaking up the system, but there's protection away from this corruption with the tower, the star, and then the seven of swords. So I think we're okay. Um, if you fall into one of those groups, I think it's okay. I think you'll be okay, I should say. Uh, no guarantees, but that's what it feels like. Republicans are going to go along with this, but the American people aren't. And I think that's why Republicans get left behind, is because, you know, how is somebody from having a green card from Afghanistan or Iran or whatever changing the cost of groceries, right? People don't want to hear it anymore. They just don't. So I think, we're going to realize the truth about this, that it's just about messaging. The justice system's not going to go along with it, the judiciary in particular. And this will be, last month's news fast enough. It will be on to the next topic soon enough. So I don't think anything bad happens here. I hope I'm right. Yeah, there are guardrails in place, and we'll be moving on to new topics because the courts are going to say no. I don't think so. With the Hierophant and the Six of Swords. So now the executive does have a large, domain over immigration stuff. So hopefully the courts do the right thing. Uh, you never really know um, what the courts are going to do. I think it's going to be here. Okay, so this is the before tarot. Right. What do we need to know about Venezuela? I always thought this again was kind of a distraction. I mean, why now? Has the drug problem suddenly got worse in the US? Did I miss something in the news? Not saying it's not bad, but I mean, didn't the 80s teach us anything? You can't get people to stop doing drugs if they want to do drugs. It's really kind of the basic truth about it. And people are going to find a way to get drugs into the country if they can make money off of it. So this is not the truth. There's a bigger story here. It's not really about drugs, that's for sure. We reclassified Navarro as a terrorist, which means we could, theoretically assassinate him. I wouldn't be surprised if that's attempted. I think a full-scale military operation is unlikely, but something small feels like what's happened. Yeah, the Queen of Cups. And the Ten of Sword. I mean, if he does do something, I mean, this is just going to make his approval rating worse. People aren't, people don't want this. People don't see a reason for it. I think most people are confused on why we're bombing boats that probably just have fishermen on them, to be honest with you. It doesn't make a lot of sense, I think, to most people. The Ten of Wands, it's going to be really hard to sell this to the American public. This is a new beginning, though. The Fool card. We get wounded in battle. The Five of Swords. This backfires really badly. I do think something happens. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't think it's big. I think it's a small, kind of like the way Obama sent in this SEAL team to take out Osama bin Laden, something along those lines. And that kind of sized operation, but it feels like it backfires. Yeah, like innocent people end up getting hurt. The Ace of Cups, surprising new beginnings here. The Six of Swords, movement, boats being repositioned, that's already happening. And then everybody bowing down to the king. I don't think that the military is going to refuse to do this because it's not an illegal operation, most likely. But I think, the stories coming out aren't going to be good. I don't think this goes very well, but the military will go through with what he orders. I don't think, like I say, it feels like it's a really small scale thing, not a big one. Maybe it's just more boats being bombed, but I think innocent people do get hurt. Um, yeah, this is going to be really hard to sell to the American public with the Ten of Wands here. This is again just movement away from Republicans and movement towards something new, away from the trouble, and voters actually responding to messages from people and how this is affecting their day-to-day lives. I think, you know, yeah, the church, the court, the Pope. Maybe this is what the Pope condemns. That could be as something going on in Venezuela, or even the threat of it. I do feel like it's inevitable and that it brings about a new way of thinking with the Ace of Pentacles and the Three of Wands. Yeah. I hope I'm wrong, but okay. So a lot of people have been talking about this idea of Mike Johnson being out as a Speaker of the House because Republicans lose the majority before 2026 elections. Is it possible? It is. Is it likely? Let's throw some cards and see here. When I was scrying on, let's get the Hierophant again. The Pope's gonna do something. The Pope's plays a role this month in December in particular. Um, Feels like he condemns something that the US does, particularly the person in charge. Okay. So Mike Johnson, will he be, let's just ask it this way. Will Mike Johnson still be Speaker of the House at the end of 2026? Put it that way. What do we need to know about that? So the elections happen in November, but the new Congress doesn't get sworn in until January 3rd, 2027. We do get the main card. There's a lot of volatility here. So lots of things can happen. People die that are in the House of Representatives. This creates open seats. It's currently, I believe, I might get this wrong, 219 Republicans, 214 Democrats. There'll be an election in Houston that'll bump the Democrats up to 215. If the Democrats were to win Tennessee, that would bump them to 216. And Marjorie Taylor Greene's resignation takes Republicans down to 218. That gets you 216 to 218. So one person flipping makes it 217, 17, and then a person dying. So it's, I mean, not really unrealistic, right? There's a lot of volatility. There's a lot of worry here on the part of Republicans. The Two Cups is a promising thing, new partnerships. The Three of Swords, betrayal, heartache. Judgment at the center. Messages coming forward. But the problem is, I think, is that in these red states like Texas, the Houston congressional district has been without a representative for almost, maybe it's even over a year now since Sylvester Turner, is that, I think, the one who passed away, because Abbott has been refusing to hold an election. So, you know, feels like there are weird things that happen here. The King of Swords, logic, consistency, wisdom, empathy, the Queen of Cups, and victory. So I think there's a lot of volatility. I think there's a lot of judgment against him, but I ultimately think he's still speaker. I think, the judgment and stuff against him creates new partnerships where he's basically, non-productive, but that's pretty much true of any Congress in an election year. There's some betrayal. There's a lot of infighting with inside the party. Um, this creates a lot of empathy for voters, and this is why they choose Republicans in 2020. I'm sorry, choose Democrats in 2026. Yeah, these tariffs start to get really old. There's spies in the camp. There's a lot of like talk about taking him out, but ultimately, I think he is in a stable spot. So I just don't think so. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. It'd be great if we got Hakeem Jeffries as speaker, but or any Democrat for that matter. I just don't see it happening. Um, but it could. Okay, the last thing. So somebody asked him about his age, and he responded kind of things. I think there's going to be media questioning his age and cognitive decline this month. So will the media actually do their jobs and question his health more thoroughly? Demand transparency, excuse me. I think so. I don't think this is a lot of the mainstream media, but I think, yeah, his health just becomes so hard to ignore, right? I mean, this could be the month that he goes, December, that is. I mean, well, it could happen tomorrow. I don't know. I'll be posting this at, 11:11 a.m. on Friday, recording it early Friday morning. I think the media stops being scared of him. The strength card. I really do think things have shifted here. There's a change. And I think we can kind of feel it. I don't know if you've noticed the shift in energy. Things feel a little bit more positive, not like it's not linear because you read headlines and you're like, ugh. But overall, I feel like things have shifted. I do think they're going to ask about his health, the Page of Pentacles. I think they're going to be very discerning in the way that they do it. I think they're going to confront with certain episodes and ask, why are these episodes happening? Um, if one plan doesn't work, try another. The Eight of Pentacles. Yeah, I think it's inevitable. The Three of Wands. There's an inevitability that the media is going to be more scrutinizing of his health because there's going to be bigger and bigger episodes. And then, ultimately, I think he goes rather quickly, and that's kind of the end of it. And so this is what puts Republicans in kind of this tricky spot. I think a lot of the big news organizations are worried about it, but the smaller ones, maybe not. Independent journalists, probably not so much either, because they're probably operating under some sort of protection anyhow. And that's the choice that's going to be made, the lover's card. So I think his ill health is becoming too much to ignore, and there's going to be questions about it. The lover's card. I think that's basically what happens. I think it's bound to happen soon, and this opens up a whole new avenue of questions for Republicans to deal with. Like, what are they allowing to happen exactly? His strength and mental fitness will be questioned. We're going to see displays of why it should be questioned. There's a lot of anxiety amongst Republicans in the White House about this. They're going to try to cover it up. They're going to, continue to find ways to try to keep him from having these episodes. I think people will mac the media up. I think people want to know. I think that's why, you know, journalists are willing to dig a little bit deeper now. And, I think there's movement on this, the Chariot card, and I think it's, complete and utter downfall for him, the Ten of Swords, the end of the cycle, the end of his life cycle, which comes as quite a surprise with the Page of Cups. So I think everything's really playing out exactly the way we've kind of talked about. I don't think there's little side stories, of course, because we can't get everything, but the big overarching stuff I think is playing out exactly like we've talked about. So, all right, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. I'll be back with another video soon.